You are listening to the Savage FINcast, episode 123, Ant Sex, or Hobo Hannah's Juiceharp Jam.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast, the show that's like a freight train derailing in your own backyard. My name is Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
I'm Raven Perez.
And welcome to another episode of the Savage FINcast, the internet's only Erik Larsen / Savage Dragon dedicated podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about Ant, which I don't think we've talked about in a few episodes, maybe recently. I don't know, it's been a bit.
But, more frequently than Dragon, the mainstay Dragon, right?
Yep. And This will be the last issue for a little while. Erik says that he's basically taking the book on a little bit of a hiatus to get ahead. We'll see how that goes. I hate to say it, but I hear a lot of comic creators say, I'm taking a break to get ahead. And then it doesn't work out that well.
Famous last words, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think any comic creator has ever gotten ahead in their entire life. That's my takeaway.
Let's just say if there was a TV show about a comic creator and he was delivering the line, I'm taking a break to get ahead, the way it would be done is he'd say, I'm taking a break. And then he'd turn to the camera and he'd zoom in on his face and he'd be lit from below and he'd say, to get ahead. And it just, because it's dun, dun, dun.
We're certainly hoping it works out because we do want more Ant.
Yeah, dude. New Ant.
New Ant, yes. I mean, we're still in the Mario Gully era covering that stuff, so we'll still see some lookalike pages, but the page reuse should taper off now.
We're ready. I think everybody's ready for it.
Yeah.
We are goddamn ready for some fresh Ant. Whew. I am going to go ahead and lovingly bust chops on this cover. Oh wait, shit! You know what? We have news. Stop the presses.
We do
stop
have
the presses.
A critical piece of news.
This just in.
Well, this just in last week. 30 minutes after we finished recording the podcast.
Just enough to make us look like total assholes.
Yep. So. Remember, our old Finteresting conversation, which is going to still be active through the next episode because nobody sent us any emails yet, guys. Just a reminder that Finteresting conversation topic is what should happen to the Savage Dragon supporting cast in the upcoming San Francisco move. At the time when we posed that question, we were only speculating based upon things Erik said in his interview and conversations with what's-his-face Youngblood in the latest issue of the Savage Dragon. But now we've got a cover which confirms they are, in fact, moving to San Francisco.
Yep. And Billy has, in fact, been converted into a box of Bob's Donuts. That's his tragic origin.
It's funny. Okay, I'm trying to pull up the cover because I'm never prepared. But here it is.
Only the best.
So I think Erik, before this cover went live, Erik asked a question about what he should do about covers coming out, soliciting in the future that may have spoilers on them.
Yes.
Now right. he did mention when he made that post that it was kind of a minor thing, but I think just from conjecture, what he might be talking about is that Jack is on this cover. So clearly he has not been torn apart and thrown to fish.
Well, what's nice
spoiler.
Yeah, what's nice, though, is that while we do have Jack present, we don't have Billy present. So there is still yet a bit of mystery, just a wrinkle of mystery here.
Billy may not be getting adopted.
Yeah. Question. So as soon as I saw this cover, it put the scene of Jack under the docks in a whole new light. Is Jack
you're
the gay one?
Is Jack gay? I mean, that certainly could be the twist on it.
I think like the way Erik kind of talked about it on Facebook, it's just them playing dress up of, typical San Francisco
cliches.
Cliches. So I think it's kind of overthinking that. I mean, I could be wrong, and who knows, but I think it's probably more of just a gimmick kind of.
Maxine thinks everyone in San Francisco walks around in dominatrix gear.
Well, they have a pretty large S&M scene, so there you go. I do like, is it Maddie in the Maxine schoolgirl?
Yes, the tradition lives on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. It's little Maddie carrying on in Maxine's footsteps. It's fantastic. Listen, dudes, the star of this, though, has got to be Hippie Malcolm. A visual that I never thought we'd see.
He's got his weed shirt.
He looks a lot better in round glasses than his father.
He does.
Yeah, both are horrible.
You hater.
You don't appreciate the round glasses look?
Not at all. Nope.
But hey, fun trivia fact. Isn't 76 Erik's jersey?
Erik's jersey? Is he, what, Erik plays football or played football?
When he was a kid?
In the past, not currently.
No shit. I've never heard that story. I didn't know he played football.
You said it.
Didn't Dragon have a jersey? Was it 76 on that too?
Yeah, it wasn't. There's not much of a story to it. Just somebody thought that 76 was the number of a reference to some professional, and Erik was like, "Oh yeah, well actually that was my jersey number." He's like, "I just threw it in there." I was like, "Oh, well, that's kind of cool."
All right, Raven, you made a joke about Bob's Donuts, and I didn't get it because I didn't notice the box in the grass.
The box on the bottom.
Yeah. It's a little box full of Billies.
Maybe Billy is there and he's been replaced by the box until it actually comes out. That'd be a twist.
Photoshop exists.
It sure do. Although it would cover up those two people in the background he painstakingly drew. So,
and the architecture.
Is it like a bunch of homeless people, or at least one guy near the fountain on the one side?
With his ass crack out?
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people made Full House references when this cover came out, but Erik claims he's never seen it.
Wow.
Well, I mean, that really is what San Francisco's known for, is those houses, the Victorians. I think Erik lives in one himself.
Yeah. I don't think he claims he never watched Full House, so he doesn't get all the jokes.
I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. That was on syndication forever.
He may be caught in issue or... I know.
He's got kids, dude. I'm just saying, he's got kids.
His kids were too young for that. That was already done.
Full House was in syndication forever.
Full House ended when I was a teenager.
Yeah, it was never not on.
Yeah, I'm saying, well, yeah, when you were a teenager, his kids are 10 years younger than you, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is I'm older than them, I think. And
that helps Craig's point.
The show wasn't also ran when I was... Never mind. You're right. It was rerun forever. You're right. It's very hard to avoid Full House.
See, that's where we want to be. Full House was on forever, so I'm just shocked that he's never seen it. It's crazy. I don't know. I'm not saying he has to be a fan, but to have never seen it, it's just shocking.
Whatever happened to predictability?
Milkman.
Paperboy.
Evening TV.
Indeed.
All right, so the other thing with 266 is our good friend Scott James has got his first Savage Dragon cover. He gets the variant, and we talked a little bit about it last episode, but it's still kind of cool, and I didn't think we nailed down which issue it was going to be, but it's going to be 266. So,
and it's funny because I love that it, we commented, we were like, this beach cover really could have run on this last issue here, with them at the beach. But then with them going to San Francisco confirmed, it's like, well, of course.
San Francisco has beaches.
there's other beaches. What the fuck were we on about?
Do they have good beaches, really?
I don't know. Probably better than the beaches of
so.
Lake Michigan, though. Or wherever Toronto is.
Yeah, Toronto beaches. Yeah, some Great Lakes beach.
Yeah.
Hey, there's a shark in the water, eh? You stinking hoser.
I know San Francisco's got the water and the coast and Alcatraz. I don't know about like a real beachfront, but I could be wrong.
I don't know California. All those cities all flow together.
And San Diego
LA,
definitely.
Yeah, California is weird to me to think that an entire coast decided to be 2 states.
Right.
It's like
3.
you had the power. 3? Who's the 3rd state?
Everyone forgets about Oregon.
Washington, Oregon, California.
Oh, Washington. Oh, wait, Oregon. Wait, Oregon's on the... What?
Yes,
Or is it
yes.
Oregon have a coast?
It does, yes.
Shame on you, Dan.
I don't know America. What, do you think I'm an
Yes.
American or something? I don't know America. The Oregon coast, you just never think about that. You think about the
Well,
Oregon plains.
I think Portland is a coastal city. It must be. And
Portland, Oregon.
Seattle, Washington. Well, no, I guess, no, they're both on rivers. Well, Seattle's in a bay, kind of. And Portland's in a river. So actually, Portland is not on the coast. But it has coast. Oregon has coasts.
All right, here's what I know about the West Coast. You ready?
It's the best coast.
Oranges in California. All right. Earthquakes. Yeah, got it.
Right, yep.
San Francisco's got the bridge. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alcatraz and gay culture. All right, we got that.
Yep.
I know
Hand in
Portland,
hand.
Oregon is like a place for hipsters, and Seattle has a slate gray sky.
And grunge.
And Disney. Oh, I didn't know grunge was from the West Coast.
Grunge is from,
Seattle.
Grunge is from
Oh,
Seattle.
Seattle
I didn't know
grunge.
that.
Yeah, well, fuck. Well, yeah. God damn it. Kurt Cobain.
This may be my last FINcast, guys.
Well, to be fair, I don't know a lot about Kurt Cobain either. I don't like Nirvana. I don't like their sound.
This is definitely
Wait a
my
minute.
last FINcast, guys.
Okay, this might be my last FINcast. you don't like Nirvana?
I'm not a grunge fan. I'm not a fan of Nirvana or Smashing Pumpkins or any of those.
What? How do you hate Smashing Pumpkins?
Well, hate might be strong. I just don't
Okay.
care for the sound.
What about 1979?
I don't know that one.
Everybody, okay, but if you knew it, you would love it, right?
Would I?
Because everyone does. Because everyone does. Everyone does. Today is the greatest.
Wait, is 1979 a song or an album?
It's a song.
Song.
All right, let me take a look here. Smashing.
No
I don't
time.
recognize it by lyrics.
No
I'd have to hear it.
time for tomorrow.
Nope.
I
not
saw
ringing-
Smashing
not ringing a
Pumpkins
bell.
in 1994.
Cool. You saw Billy Corgan when he
Lollapalooza.
You
didn't
gotta understand.
look like Uncle Fester.
In 1994, my favorite artist was Billy Joel.
Wow. That's... Wow. I just wasn't expecting you to say that.
Yeah.
I love Smashing
My,
Pumpkins,
my,
and
my,
you should too.
my music tastes are very odd. Especially
No.
Hey,
I
I think
didn't-
Smashing Pumpkins is
I
originally
didn't-
from Chicago.
I didn't become a fan of like current music until like ska punk started taking over in the mid to late 90s. That I got into.
No doubt, right?
Indeed.
What ska punk was big in the late 90s? I thought it was like over by the mid 90s.
Was it? It was a
No doubt. There's ska. And Real Big Fish.
Real Big Fish and what's the main one?
Less Than Jake.
Sublime?
A bunch. Yeah, Less Than Jake. I wouldn't call Sublime a ska band, would you?
Yeah, I
You're
would.
wrong about that.
Are
one.
they? Okay. I'll shut the fuck
played-
up. I
definitely
don't know.
Played some ska.
Okay.
I fucking hate that band.
You hate Sublime?
Yes,
This might be my
Fucking
last
hate them.
FINcast.
it was like a band that was on the radio every 5 minutes in like 1996 or something.
You are correct, sir.
Oh, Offspring. Offspring's the band I'm trying to think of.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Offspring.
Yeah, love Offspring.
I like their first album. Saw them 1994 too.
Wow, 94 was your year, man. That was awesome.
No, it was just I don't know. That was kind of the year like that punk kind of really.
Died.
Well, I guess so. 94 was the first year I started going to concerts.
There you go. That's what it is. I was gonna say that's not the year punk took off.
No, punk, like the new, like that Offspring song, that first song come out and play, that kind of kicked it off in the 90s. Like it kind of lost steam after the Clash, and then Offspring
came back.
You know, Nirvana was around, and I wouldn't necessarily call that punk. I mean, some people would.
Nirvana's
and
grunge.
And then Offspring and Rancid and Green Day kind of hit the scene.
Oh yeah, Green Day. Goddamn.
Yeah, some of the guys in my Boy Scout troop played a lot of Green Day. I listened to a lot of that through them, so I like Green Day too.
Yeah, everyone loved Dookie.
A band from Berkeley, outside of San Francisco.
Are they? See, we
Huge
tied it
punk
back
scene.
to Savage Dragon, dear listeners.
Huge punk scene.
Wow, we sure tenuously did.
According to a poll, as long as we bring it back to Savage Dragon, it's okay.
All right. Now that we've bored the shit out of our listeners.
No, they love that. If you didn't like that, write in savagefincast@gmail.com and you tell us what you think the fucking start of ska was, you smart ass.
The specials.
Story of my life. Na, 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 na.
That's Social Distortion.
Nice, dude. You got it. I figured you would. Craig's our music guy, if you guys didn't know.
Clearly.
Even though, with all the comics I draw, I probably listen to more music than Craig. But I listen to a lot of, like, lame weeb shit. Oh, yeah? You want to compare music cocks right now live on the radio? We will.
Don't make me pull out all of my power metal bands that neither of you have ever heard of.
All right. Have
I'll
either
match
of you,
all your power metal bands with bands you've never heard of.
all right. Have either of you heard of Yesterday's Waistband?
No.
Yesterday's
'Cause I
Wasteland
just-
or Waistband?
Waistbin.
Waistbend?
Yeah.
No.
Because I just made it up.
Of course you did. What about Two-Stroke Television?
No.
Nah, I made that one up.
I knew it.
That was my made up high school band. That's that. I thought that was a
Two-stroke
very
television.
indeed.
My high school band was Johnny Beergut and the Thunder Drunks.
That's a good ass band name, dude.
It's a lot of syllables.
Although you better
And
be
we also,
awesome with
friend's
a name
band
like
was George Burns and Hell.
That one's better.
that. That's a good one.
And my
dude.
brother's name, punk band, was James Bondage or Star Strangled Banner.
Dude, that's a good one. Why didn't you guys ever do anything? You had good names.
We played locally. We didn't have the skill.
Did you have any merch?
No.
I was gonna say I would love to have like a T-shirt of one of those.
Yeah. No.
Do it. Make band shirts for your old high school bands. I don't know.
I did like George Burns and Hell, and I just wanted a shirt of like George Burns with flames.
Yes,
around
dude.
him.
I mean,
As soon as you said that,
technically that's a South Park joke, and that's in the South Park movie.
That was way before this. This is when was the South Park movie?
94?
was everything in '94?
I was in high school.
Yes, basically 94 is when it all happened.
That's like the Back to the Future. Like it's the point of.
Oh wow! Holy
Convergence.
shit! Okay, I'm wrong. Back to the South Park movie was 1999. That's way later than I thought.
Yeah,
Yep.
so this is when we were in high school. So this was 94, 95, like junior, senior in high school. I graduated high school in 95. So we were ahead of our time.
Sweet.
Sure were.
Hell yeah, dudes.
All right.
Ant Sex.
The Savage Music Cast.
Ant Sex, the cover. Listen, so I have to lovingly beat up on the choice to put the end on the cover before you take a hiatus.
Right.
Like, I'm so sad.
It probably seemed like a good idea at the time.
I know people thought that this is the end. Like, I'm just saying, like,
They probably
I know.
still do.
yes. And when Ant 7 inevitably comes out, I know there's going to be comments like, yeah, I thought it ended. Yeah, I said the end right there on the cover. Look, I'm looking at it.
I thought it got canceled back in the 90s.
What got
out?
No, it's a joke about Savage Dragon.
Yeah. I thought Ant was porn now. I was really hoping that this cover was going to be that she was prying one of those rock creatures' butts open.
The grok.
Yeah, dude. Like she was
Just
prying
spreading
them.
the cheeks.
Spread the cheeks, yeah, dude. Just spreading them up. I hope no one has a camera right now, Boop. But I love it. It is still a cool cover. I do still love it, despite the fact I'm beating up on the end. But yeah, it's still a cool cover. I love it.
It's the end of the arc, Raven. Obviously, it's only the end of the arc. Why would you think it was the end of the series? It's not issue 12. We know it ends at issue 12. We got 5 more issues minimum, Raven.
You're correct. You are correct. And she is indefatigable.
I'm sorry?
Indefatigable.
God bless you.
Indefatigable.
Indefatigable?
Indefatigable ant.
Oh, I see.
And her allies.
Indefatigable.
Is it indefatigable?
The flabbergasted ant?
Well, how do you guys pronounce it?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Above the title on the first page, The End, it says the indefatigable ant and her allies face.
That's
Indefatigable.
Wait, there is a G in there. I've been reading it. Sorry, do it one more time while it's clean. Sorry.
Indefatigable.
Okay, so I misread that as undefeatable, which is what I thought it was said, but you're right,
Yeah.
there was a fucking G in there.
Indefatigable.
Undefeatable. So wait, you're supposed to say fat? Indefatigable. And I don't care. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what Google says. That just sounds wrong.
Indefatigable.
What is this word? Of a
Persisting
person or they're
tirelessly.
persisting tirelessly.
Yeah, they can't be fatigued.
Indefatigable defender of human rights.
Huh.
This
So
is the Saurus cast.
So you're right. It should be. It's someone who doesn't get fatigued. So it should be
I said indefatigable because it's
indefatigable. Yeah, you're
because
right.
fatigue is the base, but
Now,
indefatigable.
Now let's not forget this is the language that says catastrophe and catastrophic are pronounced 2 completely different ways.
Oh, you're correct. Never mind. Yep, you're right. That is how English works. I forgot. Because I would never say it's not catastrophe. It's catastrophic.
Indefatigable.
Indefatigable ant and her allies.
It sounds funny though. Indefatigable.
Indefatigable.
The indeflatable.
The undefeatable.
Deflatable.
The dirigible.
The dirigible.
The dirigible. This is a repeat, and I think the next page is too.
So I completely forgot about this fire guy in the previous outing. I think he's a fire guy. I mean, he looks like the Human Torch, of course, and
Johnny Storm. Yeah.
I think he looks good. I don't think we've seen Erik draw the Human Torch enough, and I think he should draw it more.
Did you guys notice on that first page that was originally a double page spread, and I think Erik either lightboxed or just kind of adjusted it and condensed them all into one page. He did change a little bit, like just made Spawn's knee bend without showing the rest of the foot, but I looked at all 3 characters and they look exactly the same, so we just kind of scrunched them together.
Huh, you're right. I'm looking at that now. You're right. Exactly right. Weird.
A little light box action, huh?
He added a little bit more to the cape, which was cut off previously, and he just moved things around and redid the background.
The indefatigable Erik Larsen.
Should have a better way to see both at the same time. I got to figure that out.
I got it. I got it hooked up. Yeah, you are correct. That is a double page spread condensed into a single page. That's pretty cool. All right. But you know what we're missing out on is that sweet giant Brackabadoom.
Yep, that's gone. Rip. You were gone too soon.
Also, we have a little retcon of words. Apparently, in Ant's recollection of things, she said, I think you might be right. Because she doesn't say
maybe.
that.
Maybe
she doesn't say that in the
a
original.
split second after.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it got drowned out by the Brackabadoom.
Mm-hmm. I think you might be right.
So, I mean, before we move forward, I found this issue is pretty much almost page for page
Yeah.
the same as Savage Dragon 217.
Correct.
There's a few pages different, but this is a little different than the previous issue of Ant 5, which had a lot of panel for panel. Like it wasn't so much page for page, but a lot of reused panels, kind of mixed with sprinkled with newer panels in, and then there were like I think three or four pages of like Gadget Man scenes at the end of the book where they get the car. But this issue was like pretty much through and through, like just the same pages almost. Same not even like changed dialogue.
Yeah. And I will go ahead and criticize because, there's things to love, but while we're talking about it, might as well address it. I thought that there was going to be use made of the little bit of new that was put in there, and there's really not much. He doesn't do much with the pages that are dedicated to new material. There's very little done with it. Like there's no twist on, Isaiah Stone.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's no more. We get no more information on Ant's overall mission to stop the biblical rapture. You don't see it doesn't cut to Gadget Man. I mean, he knew he was going on a hiatus, so it doesn't cut to Gadget Man. He's like, "Ant, you have to get back here right now. The twins are on fire," or something like that. Like just some crazy stinger to keep you on your seat. Nothing.
The new pages was like, all right, Ant hot wiring or stealing the van, which didn't really add much to the story, and maybe some in the back.
We get a little bit that page with her stealing the van is kind of gives us basically lets her talk about the other two being dumb shits.
Right.
Yeah.
Which kind of gives us more of her point of view on this and her opinion on these two.
True.
Because again, the Savage Dragon issue was kind of from Malcolm's point of view, so we get more of his and Spawn's point of view in that story than we ever get of Ant's. She's kind of a mysterious enigma, but now we're getting her point of view on the story.
Yeah,
but I do.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I do have to agree with you, though, Craig, is that I don't think that did enough for characterization or anything like, it wasn't like, it was nothing.
It did manage to cut out, so in the original Savage Dragon issue, there's such a long-winded scene between Malcolm and Spawn about police and good cops and bad cops. It was kind of a little just over your, just right on, hit over the head with it. And that was kind of nice to cut that out. It was just a little much for me. I don't know if you guys remember that. They just go back and forth and basically Spawn's like, go fuck yourself, or they're just screaming at each other before they get to that silhouette page, and then they kind of calm down.
He's like, fuck you, Junior.
Can I just say, Spawn is I don't know, just the stiffest character. There's when you think of I
forget, was Al Williams a cop? What was his background?
No, he was
Al
a military
Simmons.
guy,
He was a soldier.
Al
Al Simmons.
Yeah.
Yeah, Al Simmons was like a secret ops soldier.
So he did work for the government.
Yep.
The thing for me, what drew me to Savage Dragon is the same thing why I like Spider-Man. It's kind of a wise ass. It's a fun character to read about. Characters like Spawn and Shadowhawk, they're so dry and
They're
no
self-serious
humor at all. It's just it's I don't know. It just the character just drags it down, and it's only funny when when Malcolm or Dragon's picking on him or they're bullshitting. You know what I mean? They're just fighting, but alone, it's I have no interest. This guy's a fucking, I don't know, just
I can sum
in the mud.
Yeah, I can sum Spawn's entire 300 plus career up in one word: Wanda.
Yeah, it's just no personality, I guess.
None. Yeah,
unless I just haven't read enough. I don't know.
Well, here's the thing, Craig. Is should you have to? I mean, I know that you've read at least, I would say, probably 10 issues.
Yeah.
10 issues. If 10 issues, he can't shine in 10 issues, then goddamn, you're doing something wrong, you know?
To me, it's like, the clown was the one that had like...
Yeah, I get the sense of like the clown, Sam and Twitch. Those were like all the like funny characters.
It's weird.
It's weird to have your main guy be a straight man and everyone else around him be interesting.
But there's a lot of characters like that, and like even in the beginning of the Image comics, like that's why like I was drawn to Savage Dragon. Like Shadowhawk was like that. Like I don't know. I feel like maybe Wildcats. Some of the guys had personalities, but I guess they did. But I don't know. Like Cyberforce, none of those guys seemed to really have
Youngblood had some personalities. I mean, I got to admit that like Bad Rock's a goofball, and
Bad Rock was good.
Vogue and I don't know,
because they had that celebrity lifestyle thing, so they kind of got to be like people.
Yeah,
right.
Whereas everyone else was like cursed by the devil or turned into a half a robot or whatever Shadowhawk's deal is. So they all had to be like super serial all the time.
Yeah, too super serial. I do say, oops. Go ahead.
No, you go.
I will say that I do appreciate the way that the Dash is rendered in the van stealing scene. I appreciate the attention to detail. I do think that showing her using any weird alternate cool powers is good. I do think her using her finger to just turn into a key is good. Yeah. Like it's better than the original. Fuck you, you're a cop. Fuck you, you're not a cop. It's way better than that, right? So it's like I do applaud the fact, and Erik is continuing to play with the whole Ant wasn't there for that kind of a thing that he's been doing, like for these whole 7 issues. Like she wasn't there for their argument. So when we're seeing things from her perspective,
oh, that's a good point. Like she doesn't know, she can't hear it. She just knows they're arguing.
Yeah.
So that's a great point. That's why they wouldn't really focus on it.
Yeah, so and in fact, she's like, I have no idea what they're doing, but when I come back, they seem to have made peace. It's because she literally walks away, and if you look in 217, that's the way the sequence is played too. Ant's in the background of one of the panels, and then most of the panels are just Malcolm and Spawn, and then it's the silhouettes, and then by the next time you see Ant's just in the van, and so. You didn't need the context in the original comic, but I mean, if we're getting the story from Ant's perspective, so I mean, even though it's like one page, like I do think it's a cool page, but at any rate, we'll continue. You were saying,
did you guys notice like on this font for Spawn's dialogue, like
every time
like
that's
why is it so like
what the silver hoop?
Not the silver,
the wavy.
The words are wavy. I've never seen Spawn. Maybe it is in his comic. I don't know. It wasn't in the Savage Dragon issues.
Wasn't it? No, you're right. It wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, I mean, this
made it look drunk to me.
I'm looking at the Savage Dragon issues. It does have every time he speaks, he does have the silver circle, which is his thing. But you're right. His actual, if I have to guess, I think it's just to emphasize his gravelly, growly nature.
Yeah, it just comes off as drunk to me.
Me too.
When you want to like emphasize someone being like under the influence, that's how you would.
Interesting, because I took it as simply he's demonic entity, and so he kind of talks like a demon. He's got a demon.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's how I assume he's not doing it because he's drunk, but it just doesn't look. It looks.
I liked it.
I don't like it.
I liked it.
I didn't like it either.
I like personalized word balloons.
I like that they had its Spawn borders, but the wavy, I didn't need the wavy. It's funny.
That said, the fact that this wasn't the way it was in the original crossover is odd.
So try to think of it as like this is from Ant's perspective. Does that mean to Ant, Spawn sounded like, "Don't get all high and mighty with me, Junior"? Like how are we to interpret that? They're trying to kill us in case you hadn't noticed. It was them or us.
I took it more as you have unleashed an untold number of horrors, mighty one.
So like Christian Bale Batman.
Yeah, basically Christian Bale Batman top font.
Well, we have a Spawn voice, an amazing one. What is it, David? What's his name? I'm an asshole for not just immediately knowing the voice actor for Spawn.
Oh, for the cartoon?
Yeah.
No idea.
Spawn.
That makes me a real asshole.
Voice
Then.
actor David. Not Tennant. Google Keith David.
Keith David. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So,
I mean, doing the
The way he
Goliath
delivers
voice.
his line is, "They were trying to kill us. In case you hadn't noticed, it was us up there."
Well, that's Keith David doing Keith David because Keith David does Keith David.
Yeah.
He's Goliath. It's his Goliath voice. Yeah.
Yeah,
you
but like
never
it's
saw
good.
Gargoyles, did you?
No, yeah, totally, dude. Disney's best cartoon.
Indeed. the best Ninja Turtles knockoff.
So, moving along.
So there
From
isn't,
the
like we've said, there isn't a lot to talk about in this issue simply because it is a repeat. If you want to hear our in-depth thoughts, you can check out Savage FINcast episode 52, where we talked about much
That's
of
it for the FinCast. Thank you.
Ba-da-ba,
Appreciate it.
ba-da-ba.
Good night.
One thing I did notice towards the end, you know how we talked about how he turned that double-page splash into a single page? Well,
Right.
he did this, what is this, 4 times 3, this 12-page grid page, he turned it into 2 pages.
Yeah.
Some of the art got expanded, but otherwise it's identical except across 2 pages.
And he touches on that in the credits. He's
Does he?
like, I gave, in the back matter, he's like, I was able to give this sequence more room to breathe, and, I tightened this up or whatever else. But honestly, it's crazy. I want you guys to really think about this. This 217 ran in 2016. So that's been 7 years ago.
Yeah, like 6.5 years, 7 years. Yeah.
And yet, this still hit. I mean, even if I hadn't just done the reread, didn't you guys feel kind of like this was just like still real fresh in your head?
Yeah, I'll be honest. It is, even though I did
Yeah.
forget a lot about the beach of the story, I actually forgot about the fight with the fire guy and the other
Right.
cultists. I thought that was all new, and it wasn't.
Right.
So I guess I had forgot a few things.
But it just hasn't been long enough that.
Yeah.
Didn't seem like 6 years, 7 years ago.
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, COVID years is more like a lifetime. But yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
About the most interesting difference, I would say, between the issues is that you get to see Jack Morelli's lettering versus Russ Wooten's.
That's a good point. Oh wow, you're right. We do get to compare the two again.
And it is interestingly different because Russ does some of that kind of old school Savage Dragon, and Jack Morelli's doing kind of a more like cartoonish, like bombastic kind of a like the Doom is where it really stands out as different, like
Well,
the
he-
Doom pages.
Yeah.
That stands out as really different, like Jack to Russ. And then, of course, you get to see Eric's flats versus Nikos's more like rendered coloring. So it's funny because these issues are so similar that like you really got to get granular to appreciate this.
I didn't even really notice the lettering were different until you pointed it out, and yet you can tell that the whole thing's been relettered, like entirely.
Yeah, completely relettered. Even though it's a lot of the
Even though
art's the same.
even though the art's the same and the text is the same, but the lettering is new. And the word balloon placement, the word balloon placement is the same, but the word balloons themselves are redrawn. You can tell because the tails are slightly different.
Well, like Craig pointed out, some of these things were originally just panels that get expanded out into pages. Like the 3-page sequence where Isaiah Stone gets stabbed by Spawn, that was just 3 panels at the top of, or that was part of 4 panels. That was 3 of 4 panels in the original 217.
I think
And
he did that because when the rocks fall, the characters get separated. So
Right.
he could only use those 4 panels before he had to start doing ant stuff.
Correct, yeah. So it's like, it's just really nitty gritty. I mean, it's kind of like, but I mean, here's the thing. It's all right. I'm going to keep my critic hat on. So it's a sort of retread anyway. And, real estate's limited anyway. And it's just kind of like, you hate to see stuff like 3 panels of an original page just blown up to fill up a whole page.
I mean, it's kind of a similar situation as the digest.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get your point.
It's just maybe not like the most considering that this is about to go on hiatus.
Yeah.
It's maybe not the best use of pages.
Yeah, as expanding that 1 page into 2, plus turning these 3 panels into a page. Yeah, good point.
I would
one thing
I
I
wanted
found,
more was all.
Yeah, of course. Who doesn't? One thing I found really kind of interesting. So Ant goes for like the really minimalist art style with the flats and the flat colors and stuff. And if you go back to the original Savage Dragon issue where Isaiah Stone gets stabbed through the back by Spawn, he actually is kind of flatly colored in that panel.
Yeah.
But when you see it in this book, he's the only character who has like shading and like skin tone, like transition. He's over colored versus everything else.
Yeah, it's a really interesting choice, isn't it?
I kind of like it better in the Ant. It pops more.
Oh yeah, with the whole dagger red.
Yeah. And Spawn kind of just more I don't know, it just pops more because Spawn's in the background, kind of just that flat white, no shading, you know.
But you're right. Turns out nothing new about Isaiah Stone. He gets stabbed and gets buried, and he's never seen again.
I feel like even the dialogue, that's how it ends. Not with a whimper, not with a whimper, but a bang. Wait a minute. No, it ended with a whimper.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. She says it ended with a bang, but we know different.
Yeah. I gotta say, you know, this is a new page of her standing triumphantly on this, and she is colored so goddamn good. There's just something about this page. It's one of the few new pages in this issue.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it looks so goddamn good in this page.
It's a new panel, but the panel with the rocks falling on Dragon is reused.
Right.
Yeah. So,
it's one of the 4 from the top of that issue 217.
But yeah, the Ant panel herself is new drawing. Yeah,
and the Brackathum looks good.
Yeah, it does. And the rocks falling on Dragon, the way it's colored here with the yellows and the reds, are so much more impactful than the original. The original looked good too, but I don't know. There's something nice about the knockouts of the yellow.
I agree. Yeah, the yellow against red, absolutely.
Although, yeah, the original one was good. I like both, but I definitely, I don't know.
It's funny.
They're both really good, but the yellow one just kind of jumps out at you.
Did you guys kind of get the impression that this issue sort of worked hard to make Ant seem like she really didn't give a shit about the people she was working with?
Oh no, she's definitely a Larsen character in that regard.
Yeah, she worked so hard to recruit them, and then it was like, just gonna leave them to their own devices.
Yeah,
well, they just treat them like a bunch of like bickering idiots.
Yeah, they don't get along, so meh.
It's hard to kind of take Malcolm serious when he's like,
that's right. This is
dialogue about being a cop and like, dude, you've got no.
He's in his Law and Order phase. To be fair, his father went through it too. He would expose the importance of due process occasionally.
You're
himself.
under arrest. Yeah, you're not in whatever.
Yeah, he gets so goddamn mad at Spawn for killing Isaiah Stone, but then like as soon as I saw that, I thought about him poking his finger through Scourge.
In the same episode, in the same issue, he punches the jaw of some guy. I mean, I can't imagine you can.
That was self-defense.
Life's precious. We got a scrunch.
His problem is that Isaiah had surrendered, so Spawn murdered him.
Isaiah Stone. Listen, all right. This is what I wanted. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just gonna say it. Isaiah Stone said he could control molecules. We saw him making the cave walls into hands.
Yes.
This guy could give people powers. He was just too fucking awesome to have gone out like such a fucking chump. And I get it that he wanted to live, and so he surrendered, and then Spawn killed him anyway. But, like, man, I kind of wanted a reason for why he didn't, like, turn their molecules inside out or something.
All I wanted was, like, you know, maybe another page with one of his minions kind of dragging him away or something. Like,
yes.
Some kind of, like, hey,
just something.
Maybe this isn't the end. Or a minion putting on his, like, broken skull cap, like taking over the reins or something.
Yes, Craig. Yes, dude.
Something to like give us a little like, oh, maybe this isn't the end.
I still think the hat was the bad guy all along.
The skull, right? Yeah, the skull mask, right?
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing: is that, dude, you hit the nail right on the head. That's all I wanted. Like, instead of not wasting. I mean, I like it, but it's like, instead of spending, we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4 pages on Ant basically making her way to the train tracks. Yeah, could have given us one of those pages to give us a little bit. What's his connection to the biblical rapture?
That's like classic Savage Dragon. You know, the last page is like a splash of something. Like, oh shit, you know, maybe, you know, in 40 issues we're gonna see this guy appear again. You know what I mean? Like, here's the minion that's dragging him away, or putting on the hat, or, you know, and turning into one.
Right.
Is, you know, a villain or whatever it is. That was the kind of shit that, you know, Savage Dragon first, you know, 10 years or something. That's the shit you would see, you know?
Yeah, like if one of the people down in the camp was like, Isaiah Stone's dead, long live Isaiah Stone, and like had a baby with the fucking skull mask or something.
Yeah, and, you know, you don't even really ever have to touch that again if you don't want to, but it just gives you the option. And it just kind of makes it a more interesting read of like, oh.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, the funny thing is like, and there were things that were never expanded upon. Really, like, Baby Boom was around for so long, and then in the end, he just ended up being a living bomb. But it's like, even if it was just like thrown out there to like tease you, it would have just, to me, been more exciting than. And then Ant made it to the tracks. It's like, all right, well, I didn't need 4 pages to see that. I mean, if you really think about this mechanically, like what these 4 pages accomplished, these 4 new pages, right? Mm-hmm. Spawned in at first, it just kind of seems indifferent about the people that helped her. Then Spawn just kind of seems indifferent about Ant. Just fucking steals the vehicle and just fucking takes off.
Walks Dr. Octopus style with his chains.
Which I did like that, by the way. I thought that was cool as shit and funny. Mm-hmm. But then, like, Ant is indifferent to the people in the camp. And then Ant just fucking gets on the train. And that's what those 4 pages accomplished. And I just feel like they could have accomplished a little. Like, show us her dad. Dude, we haven't checked in with him in a long fucking time. Or, like, show us, like I said, something with Gadget Man, or fucking the general that's over the general that's like, oh, you know, factions change all the time. You know, that guy.
Right.
Whatever. Just, to me, it's like.
I think you guys know how I feel about Ant, and this issue really didn't help much. I'm just echoing what what I've heard from other people too, but, you know, I don't think this is a wholly original thought, but I'm just done with like I wasn't a huge fan of the Ant Dragon Spawn crossover when it came out. It was okay, but like, it's not that, and, you know, I don't know. The story wasn't that great. You know, it could have been better. This Isaiah Stone guy, or Isaiah Stone, is, you know, we see him and he dies. There's no, like, I'm not invested in the character. And then for it just to be a complete, like, recap, almost page for page, it's like, I felt like we already talked about this issue. Like, we've already seen it. We've already paid for this comic. Like, you know, we get the experiment and the colors and stuff, but it's just not enough for me to be, like, satisfied. And I'm just like, I need this book to, like, find its voice and kick into something separate from Savage Dragon and Mario Gully stuff. Like, never interested in Mario Gully's original comic, or his characters are not. It was not a good read for me. The Spawn crossover was not the high watermark of Savage Dragon. That I'm ready for new shit. Like, give me some new shit.
I will expand upon what you're saying just by saying, as someone who had no familiarity with Mario's stuff, unfortunately, Mario's stuff was some of the only freshness that we really had. And if you remember last time, I was kind of down on the series, but then I was kind of coming up. It was kind of shaping up with each issue. But then, to me, this kind of dragged my enthusiasm down a peg. Like, I'm kind of dragged back down to the, this really does need to get fucking off the pot. Like, it just needs to get cooking. Like, we need new. Like, this needs to feel like an Erik Larsen book. Because, obviously we love what the fuck Erik does. His last issue of Savage Dragon was just a goddamn barn burner. I mean, he hasn't lost a fucking step at all. No. But whatever this experiment, this dedication to recapping those, it just needs to fucking move along. Yeah, we just need to get new stuff.
I remember seeing that, the splash page with the Batman kind of knockoff villains, and being like, oh, it's cool, we get to see some different characters. You didn't know where this book was gonna go, and it just has not lived up to my expectations. It's kind of been a slog for me. Like I said, this is just an issue of Savage Dragon right now. It's not that much different than what we already had. I'm like, I don't know. The good thing is, I think that we're past this now.
Yes. And hope. Yes.
Well,
yes. Right.
You say that, but there's going to be more Mario Gully series to reference.
Is there? But I think
we're still not out of the revisiting Mario Gully era. Period.
Yeah, but I think that we're done with most of the reused panels. He might reference some Mario Gully. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Let me ask you, you read the Mario stuff. The next issue teases the severed hand.
Yeah, so that's probably a lot of...
Is that touched upon in the Mario stuff?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There's a whole issue. The issue is the severed hand.
I hate to tell you, dude, but I think you stuck it...
We got 5 more issues.
I think I stuck the severed hand in some place wrong.
No, I'm just saying, I think... I think you're in for a rough ride. Yeah. I think these next 5 issues are going to be recap. I don't think there's going to be new until 13.
Yeah, and that's a while, and it's not good, honestly, for me. I don't know, man. I don't like the Mario Gully stuff, and I know Erik just wants to wrap it up, but I think he just made a misstep by trying to make it go 12 issues. I think he was better off just blowing it all up and starting new.
Yep.
And not trying to deal with, cleaning up a convoluted story. It's just not fun to get through for me. It really isn't.
I will just say that, again, without the Mario stuff, without the Mario context, I'm a little more forgiving for it. It was some of the most exciting stuff. So maybe it's not so bad for me, but he needs to not be... slavishly committed to recapping that, it just sort of it needs to feel fresh. Yeah. If you're gonna touch on that old stuff, just bring as much new, and as much you to that old stuff as you can, because there's just this first 7 issues is just so mired in old stuff that I just really, really desperate for that new stuff. So,
I feel like this is a project that Erik enjoys, of just trying to fix this character to a way he thinks would work. But unfortunately, I don't think he's thinking of the reader. Whereas it works with Savage Dragon. I don't care what the readers want in Savage Dragon. I just want it from Erik. I want Erik's kind of version of Savage Dragon. I don't want to be influenced. But when it comes to Ant, it's almost I don't know. Just give us some stuff that we want, I don't know. Don't try so hard to clean up Mario Gully's mess and and try to make it right somehow. It's just, I don't think anyone really wants that besides a small group of like people that were into the Mario Gully stuff that still are.
Well, that is the perspective that I wish that we had. Is I wish that, like, because I know you're not into it, but like for the people who were enthused, for Mario's stuff, are they feeling this? Is this something that, like, do the Mario fans thrill to see Erik's take on Mario's stuff? I don't know, because we don't hear from him.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know.
And I don't want to shit all over this because I do like reading it and talking to you guys about it.
Yeah.
I love Erik Larsen's stuff. I just want it to get better. I really do.
Anytime there's anything new, I'm like over the fucking moon. Like even the thing is that like this, you know, we sounded so shitty and hateful of it, but like the new pages were fantastic. I mean, beautiful visuals. The coloring, I will certainly say that his coloring experiment's a total success. I mean, this
character should be right up Erik's alley. Like, you could draw like a Spider-Man, like flexible, you know, thin character that, you know, I mean, he proved with this Spider-Man that he can draw these types of characters, and so it seems like it would be a perfect fit, you know, this type of visual. Mm-hmm. So I just want to see that. I don't know. I just want to see new stuff.
It's totally justified. Jim, where are you at? You've been pretty quiet.
I understand what Erik's doing. He's made it pretty clear that the goal of all of this is to basically repackage the Mario Gully series into something that can be sold as a complete package, because you can't sell the series as it was due to various issues. So that seems to be his primary goal, is to make that version of the character available. And this is the way he's going about doing it, and that's why he's doing it this way. I think trying to redo it from scratch would have been a preferable way for us. But as you say, if Erik is enjoying it, I think ultimately, as long as he's enjoying what he's doing, I guess we have to just enjoy it as it comes, or you're not required to like everything Erik Larsen does.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And what's, you know, we don't do that here.
And that's why I got to keep it real. Like, if I'm not going to fake it, because then no one would want to hear our opinions. They wouldn't trust it. But that's the thing. Like, and that's the thing with Savage Dragon. Even if you don't like trusting that it's Erik's vision is what kind of makes Savage Dragon great too, you know. But I just, you know, if I wasn't doing a podcast on this, I don't know how much longer I could hold out on this.
Oh,
this
I
comic.
know. I probably would have dropped it by now, for sure.
I don't think I would have dropped it, but the thing is that I'm not gonna pretend that this thrills me the way new issues of Savage Dragon do.
Not even close for me. Not even close.
And the thing, and it has nothing to do with the art, and it has nothing to do with the coloring. That's the strong point. It's the retread. I just don't feel anything about that. Me. And the thing is I know that he wants to take a different approach. He even says it in this letters thing. He's going for a more timeless storytelling and things like that. He's not tied to real time. So I know that in a lot of ways, this is a lot of ways for him. This is a different book than Savage Dragon. But I guess all I'm saying is that even though I wouldn't have dropped it, I couldn't get as enthusiastic as I am about Savage Dragon, where like I recommend anybody read that. And I recommend anybody check out Savage Dragon. It's like a comics tour de force, like issue after issue. It's good. It's like super amazing or whatever else. There's a lot of the times in this ant like recap and stuff where just, you know, sometimes stuff's weird or it only really makes sense. It's super
confusing. We're in issue 6 and it's like confusing to me at times.
Well, I just don't think, like, with 6 issues, I don't think enough was really maybe done. Like, 6 issues of Savage Dragon, shit happens. And in 6 issues of Ant, maybe I would feel different if there wasn't so much retread, but it still doesn't feel like much has happened. It doesn't feel like she's, like, you know, learned any great truth or had any great personal growth.
Yeah, I'm just confused, honestly.
See, I'm not confused.
I'm not confused, but I'm just not feeling like this is the way the story would flow if it was all new.
So she's like totally aware who she is. It seemed like she went from like wandering around.
I think she's still got memory
in the present
issues.
or the past, and then all of a sudden just becomes like a superhero, recruits 2 other superheroes, and goes on this quest.
Which she seems annoyed by because it's a side mission to her main mission.
Like, why is she so driven by going after this guy all of a sudden? Like, I don't understand that. Do you guys get that? Like, all of a sudden, like, she's trying to find herself, and now all of a sudden she's like, I've got to go get this guy.
I do believe Erik moved up this crossover retread. I think he may have mentioned that at some point where this was supposed to happen later in the series, but he decided to do it now. So that might be adding to some of the confusion there about motivation.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have to like go on Facebook to like understand. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And still don't even understand it. Like maybe I need to reread the first few issues.
Let's take a moment to go back and to revisit Ant's current status before this.
Okay.
She's been having memory issues. She's been active as Ant. She's been active as Ant, but she may not be fully aware of how active as Ant, because it feels like Ant is like a separate persona that comes out, and that her civilian self doesn't always know everything that she's doing as Ant, and part of that's because of her programming, and part of that is coming out of that programming. I think hunting down Gadget Man has awakened a lot of those memories, has made things make more sense for her. That's why she's been more proactive in the last several issues.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I have no idea so that's your guess, right? I mean, there was nothing solid.
It's based on some of the stuff we read back in issue 4 with Gadget Man.
I guess
and the stuff with Cold Burn and what's her face, Green Tits.
Green Tits, yeah. Iconic. That iconic character. I kind of get where you're coming from, Jim. But at the same time, I do have to say with Craig, like you're justified in saying that the pace feels kind of meandering. Like she did kind of go from like, I don't really know who I am. Oh wait, no, yep, I'm Ant. Oh, yep, there's Gadget Man. Gadget Man, why'd you do this? And Gadget Man's like, oh, I'm protecting you or whatever else. Now all of a sudden she's just able to just recruit Spawn and Savage Dragon and go on this side mission. But again, even I just didn't get context for why Isaiah Stone mattered. Like what was his connection to the biblical rapture? Like, or I know we're probably going to get it, but it's just like
I don't know if he absolutely was. I think
he says
I'm looking
his
at issue
connection
4 now.
He says he's preparing people for the coming storm. So he's referring to the biblical rapture, right?
Oh, okay. He does.
So Isaiah Stone is trying to counter the biblical rapture that's coming by giving people powers. But it's kind of like it's meandering. I mean, I'm sorry, it's not as good of a clear through line as what you would want, is all.
Right.
Okay, so I'm back on issue 4, and I'm in the scene where she's talking to Gadget Man in her hovel, in her apartment, and she basically says there's a man down in New Mexico named Elijah Stone who's using his mutant powers to transform religious nuts and social misfits into superpowered killers. We need to shut him down. Spawn said he'd help, but he's in recovery himself. So I guess he is part of it, or at least he's a symptom of it, which is why she's taken initiative to go get him, because she knows where he is, presumably.
It's just strange. I think this just could have been done better. I think that like you just didn't need to try to put this puzzle together like this. I think that it would have been more coherent had he simply started fresh. Like, if you want to use Cold Burn, use Cold Burn. If you want to whatever, but like I don't think necessarily the commitment to the old continuity and making something of it, I don't think that is bearing fruit the way you would have wanted. You know what I mean? I think that maybe after reading this, that's just my reaction. Is like after reading this, I don't feel as enthusiastic as I do with new issues of Dragon. And the thing is I know that new issues of Dragon are going to have some kind of crazy thrill or new villain or whatever else, whereas this feels like it's building to issue 12, which we've already read.
Here's what I think, and this is based on some stuff I've been scanning through these back issues of Ant as we talk. I think we're supposed to feel a little disjointed about things because I think Hannah herself is disjointed about things. And I think that's been the case the whole time. And yes, it's a little odd that she gets these heroes and she goes down to get this guy. And yes, there's a connection, but it isn't a very strong one. But I think that's because she needs like a goal, any goal, and this is a goal. And she may not entirely understand why she's so driven to do this. She just knows that she is. And again, it all kind of goes back to the fact that she was programmed for a time, then she was deprogrammed, and then she has, she's been having a hard time telling whether or not if Ant is real or not, because remember, Gadget Man did that whole thing where he turned Ant into like a fictional character.
To try and protect her.
Protect her, so there was a subterfuge there that confused reality with fiction, and I think we are supposed to be as confused as she is. At least I hope so.
I think I'm there.
And this is where I say one last time, because I just don't need to keep beating it up.
It's postmodern.
This is where I say again is that I think if you're trying to fix Ant's convoluted origin, you don't embrace any of the convoluted aspects. You clean it up. You make it more clear-cut. You make it easier to understand. Invincible was a normal teenager till one day he throws the trash way over the garbage bin, is like, awesome. And he realizes his powers came in. That's pretty clear-cut. It's just like having someone question reality, and we question reality, and it's like also the characters I made up as a kid, blend into my actual modern superhero powers, but it's that wasn't the way. that wasn't the approach. It's like what you need if you're doing a fresh start is just a good clean slate, so that anybody who picks it up feels like they're getting in on the ground floor.
Agreed.
I mean, yeah.
If you're trying to make a character marketable, that's all. And so it's hard because I am enjoying this. And like I said, I was up before this. Before this issue, I was up. I was like, yeah, man, I'm feeling it. It's making sense to me. It's clicking. But I don't know how a new reader would feel about this. I guess we really need a new reader to tell us. But it's hard for me because I'm not a new reader. Like when I read this, I just see so much old, and just like a little bit, it checks you out. You know what I mean?
Well, it probably doesn't help that we spend 2 hours talking about the issue previously, more than probably anybody else.
Yeah. We are burdened. Yeah, we're burdened with the extra fact that like we reviewed the shit out of Spawn 217,
right?
And even then, we didn't like that. Like I remember our impression. Like we loved the bickering, and we thought it was funny.
Well, that's it, yeah.
The Miley Cyrus, when it was new, all that stuff. We were like, we're like, haha, Miley Cyrus, escort van, haha. We laughed at that stuff, but I remember we still hated that ending.
Yeah, I just wasn't super impressed with that issue to start with. So to get it again is just, all right. I've said my piece.
Yeah, same too. You know what we can do? We can jump to this absolutely one area where Ant has completely shined. Is I would even say that the letters column in Ant has surpassed the letters column in Savage Dragon. I think that there's like good letter writing. I think that the inclusion of fan art.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know why he doesn't do that with Savage Dragon that much.
I mean, if you're out there, Savage Dragon listeners.
I don't know.
If you're out there, Savage Dragon listeners, I mean, submit art, because his thing he said, is, somebody was like, oh, did the FINcast have something to do with this? And Erik was like, well, if people submit it. So I'm getting the feeling that if you would submit Savage Dragon art, there'd be Savage Dragon letter column art. And so, dear listeners, Ken Albury, Jay Kennedy, Michael Fitzgerald, Troy, if you're out there and you have it in you, please submit Savage Dragon art as well. I loved your contributions to this issue. I thought you did fantastic. Jay Kennedy in particular, I want to make sure to throw out. He did the one of Angel and Ant. It's uncredited. And so just making sure we're giving you your credit, King. We're throwing out a little extra shine on your name. Excellent work, everyone.
I also want to mention Michael Fitzgerald Troy, who does the trippy ant one, which is pretty damn cool to see something that's a little bit different. But he also has a really great video channel where he reviews a lot of comics I really enjoy. But it's worth checking out his YouTube page, and I think it's... Oh, he's got Gary Carlson from Big Bang Comics on his next episode, which... That's
out.
He always... Is it out?
Yep.
What's the name of his YouTube page?
I'll find it right
MFT, now. MFT TV, I think.
It's on Gary's page. Gary just shared the interview. It's MFTV. Yeah, MFT TV presents. And if you look up MFT TV presents Comic Chat, that's the full name, you will find Michael's thing. And he did an interview with Gary. It's out now. Of course,
but yeah, he reviewed our Super Freaks comic. He does a lot of Larsen comics and stuff that we're into. So his channel's worth checking out.
And
his type of stuff.
His ant pinup here is blacklight friendly, and that was by intention.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he did that because I was like, oh man, it's reminds me of blacklight art, and he's like, that's on purpose, and I was like, oh dude.
And Ken Albury's pinup has got the severed hand, which we're gonna be visiting, revisiting.
Very funny, dude. Very funny pinup. Excellent work. Excellent work, all those contributors. But I just want to say, there's somebody who outshone every one of them.
He has way too many questions.
I would say that he might have actually asked the perfect. Some would say the perfect amount of questions. Okay, and 7. It's a holy number. It's a lucky number. That was by design. So yeah, there's a certain well-endowed FINcast host who wrote in a letter that was so good that we have to
write in his Savage Dragon letter, but it's close enough.
I swear by the chemical explosion of East Palestine, Ohio, I swear that I did write that that Craig praising letter, and Erik just didn't publish it. I swear to you, dear listeners. But there's only really one thing that I want to highlight on my letter, because we have talked about it so many times on the FINcast, and that is that Erik claims that the never received Savage Dragon Halloween issue was issue 120. Now, I just have to say, do you fellas feel like issue 120 was a Halloween issue?
Was that the one with the panel each day?
That was the one that had them trick-or-treating Mr. Glum and Angel as Calvin and Hobbes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
But that was one day, right? Or 1 month?
No, that's...
I will just say that I feel like we've had Christmas... my only rebuttal... I'm going to rebuttal right here on the show. My only rebuttal... Allow me to present my rebuttal. So, the only thing I will say is that we have had Christmas issues that I think no one would doubt that they were a Christmas issue, right? Like Santa Claus is in them. There's a beard. There's a sleigh. I want a Halloween issue that is undeniably a Halloween issue.
120 is not the one day out of the year, or one day a month, or whatever it was. Right? 120
All right, that's the
120's
120's the election
120's a
issue.
good. Yeah, 120's a good Halloween one.
Yeah, they're
full pages.
Yeah, they're definitely trick or treating. It's not ambiguous.
Did you say 2 full pages? Come on,
Yeah.
I'm still.
No, there's more than 2.
Whoa,
Actually.
whoa! There's 3. Whoa! There's 4.
Yeah, it's definitely Halloween. Dude, Raven,
5.
You gotta revisit that.
I don't
There's
believe
about
you.
as many Halloween panels as in the Christmas issue.
Come on, dude. There's an issue where Savage Dragon is wearing a Santa suit on a sleigh delivering presents.
Well, this literally has Angel and Glum in costumes with the buckets on the street. It's no less a Halloween issue than any of those other Christmas issues.
With Hellboy costumes and Batman and Spawn costumes.
Okay. Well, it's good to
Calvin
know.
Hobbes.
It's good to know you Judases sided with Erik so quick and fast.
Yeah,
So
dude.
what-
And actually, part of the plot is that someone steals
Angel's
candy.
And Glum beats his
And
face
Glum
into the
beats
fucking ground.
shit out of him.
I guess Smasher is wearing a purple and black striped shirt. So that's pretty festive. Whatever. I don't believe it. Whatever. Yeah, all right, that's fine. Sure. I'll shut up about it. Maybe one day I'll get my Halloween issue.
You got it, buddy. It's done. Let it go.
Yeah, but moving past those amazing. I mean, honestly, I really am serious. Like the letters column in Ant is spectacular. I love it. I love the letters in Dragon, but I really feel like the letters column in Ant has just been excellent. And we get some of this excellent sketch cover stuff. And boy, oh boy, you would have never dreamed Erik struggled with that cover the way he did, would you?
Yeah, there's a lot of renditions of it, huh?
Yeah, he says, I mean, that's the one he talked about. He says, he even talks about the struggle. He's like, it should be easy. He's like, it's just a standard cover. He's like, but man, I really struggled with this one. It's like, holy cow. So I love that kind of stuff. Like, I love that kind of DVD extra behind the scenes. You know? Just saying. This is great.
And after all that, I think the cover of Savage Dragon 217 was a better cover.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually was. But it's cool, man.
Yeah.
The back matter was some of the best part of this issue is what's so crazy.
Yeah, I love the comparison. Like, so you don't actually have to go dig through your comics if you don't want to. Like, he's going to show you some of the pages how they're different. That's cool. I do like the letters pages and just for the fact that you can see there's people that enjoy this. So that makes me happy that, there is an audience that enjoys this and like it enough to write in. I mean, 'cause, it takes effort to write a letter. Let's be honest. And so knowing that people are doing it, I mean, it's a decent sized letters page. So that's cool. I do like reading letters.
Yeah, no, I'm very pleased with it, and it's especially important in Ant because he's said multiple times Ant won't have time capsule moments. Like for instance, he says in this letters column, and again, this is why the letters column's awesome. He says in this letters column he doesn't plan to touch on COVID at all in Ant, and so that makes the letters column even more important to be like a time capsule for the moment because Ant itself isn't going to have that element. And so, yeah, it's cool. Like, I love it. Always a thrill. Like, always a pleasure. Final scores. And this is going to be harsh. This one's going to be low. If you had to put a number, 1 out of 10, what would you put on this currently? Issue 6 itself.
10 being the best,
10.
5 being kind of middle of the road.
Yeah. And then 1 being unbearable. Spawn.
Give it a 6.
Okay.
Just because it's too much of a repeat, and what was new was a little thin.
Okay. How about you, Craig?
If this was new, I'd give it a 4. I don't think it's as good as an average issue of Savage Dragon, but because this is all I'm going to give it a 3 just because I've read
Whoa.
the issue before.
Damn.
Sure. No, like
Yeah, I'm just not happy. I think it's below average to start because I didn't like the story to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not into it, and then pile on top of that I've read this before. I just give me some. I mean, you had how many months? Give me something new. I don't know. I'm going to be shitty about it, but
no, it's fine, dude.
I felt like I bought a comic I already owned.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 5 right down the middle. I love the new stuff. I love the back matter, but this is by Larsen standards. This is just middle of the road. The only reason I'm giving it such a high score is because I do think that the art experiment is interesting. The coloring, the art, I continue to really enjoy that. The differences between the lettering in particular I thought was interesting and stuff like that. But that's the strength of novelty, and I don't think that that's really anything that elevates it above just average. And so, yeah, 5. I'm feeling like a 5. So
I think we said it all.
there we go. On the next issue of Ant, the Hand, coming eventually.
It's not just the hand; it's the severed hand, right?
The severed hand, coming eventually.
Well, it'll be interesting to see when Ant comes back. Hopefully not too long, but let's see if we can get some more Savage Dragon in the meantime.
It's cool to listen. I don't want to end on a downer. I do want to end on an uplifting note. And I will say that overall I am still excited to get 2 titles from Erik. And overall I am still excited to see where he goes with this. And we complained our little asses off about Savage Dragon not having arcs. And this is Ant having one big giant arc. But
because this arc started in issue 3 of Ant, that's when Spawn showed up.
Yeah, and it's been continuing on and on. So, for whatever it's worth, I still think that this is very potentially exciting. There's still a lot of potential excitement. I still think that Ant as a character is an incredibly strong visual. I think that he says he's going to get a bunch in the can. I think that that's smart. I think that if you could just keep it coming out, if those 5 issues come out 5 months in a row, and then boom, we're dealing with a new issue. It's like, well, of new, like no retread, no nothing. It's like, well, fuck yeah, that's really going to hit with some strong and so I'm overall still positive on Ant the character, even if I'm not overall positive on the current direction. So, and I still look forward to it. Like I'm still hyped about the experiment. And so, yeah, we'll see.
So,
feeling like the end? Yeah.
I think that's it for Ant. We got a few more minutes. I wanted to follow up on something really quick. Those who listen to the Savage FINcast Retro may have heard us talk briefly about a pinup in one of the previous issues of Savage Dragon. I think it was it in 16? I honestly can't remember, but it was a pinup by Jerry Ordway about a character of his called Proton. And I discovered that Proton actually has current comics that have come out in the last several years. They're basically a part of a kind of a con exclusive, creator exclusive. Like they're not published through like Diamond or anything. They're just, you can buy them at cons. You can order them through his website. So Proton is interesting. So you can still, as far as I know, you can still buy the first 2 issues of Proton through Jerry Ordway's website. That's how I got them. The first issue is a reprint of material from another book plus the material in Proton number 1 in kind of a combined issue, and then there's a Proton number 2. The interesting thing about these books is they're not just Proton. Half of the book is Proton, the other half is sketchbook. Well, not so much sketchbook, so much as finished line art, black and white line art of various commissions that he's done. So it's like it's like a convention sketchbook, half convention sketchbook, half comic.
Okay.
So which means each issue, quote unquote, is got about 10 to 12 pages of Proton. So the unfortunate thing about that is that the story is a bit glacial as a result because you don't get a full issue of comic in each issue.
Yeah.
How much is each issue?
How much is each issue?
Yeah.
I feel like I paid like $5 to $6 each.
For like 10. Yeah.
That's tough.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Well, keep going though. This is your impression.
I want to hear about.
Yeah. This is your impressions. Yeah.
So yeah, I paid they're $5 and $6. So I paid $11 plus $5 shipping for both. Actually, I paid $18 for the bundle. Anyway, so because of the kind of slow, it's kind of like a So there's this dude. I'm not going to go into the details because I can't remember off the top of my head. But he had like an encounter with like a UFO, and it's infused him with some sort of mysterious power. And government agents are looking for him, and what appear to be agents of the aliens or an alien group are trying to find him. So it's kind of a guy on the run sort of story, like The Fugitive. But he doesn't really like demonstrate his abilities until like the end of issue 2, and then it's very brief. So you get that quote unquote kind of cool looking costume that you don't really see until late into issue 2, or even I don't even know if you see it yet until the end of issue 2. I'll be honest. It's interesting, but it's not something I would say run out and get. It is cool because what you can tell is, and what he writes about in the intros of each issue, Proton's something he's been working on for a very long time, conceptualizing at least. Because as we said, we saw that poster way back in 1994, but he's only just now, putting the books out. Now here's the thing. So he's had previous convention comics. I believe the first convention comics he did were called Messenger, and Messenger ran like 20 odd issues. But again, they were self-published through his OK Comics brand. I haven't been able to find any issues of the Messenger except for one issue of the Messenger that was published through Image, which I assume was a collection of the con exclusive comics bundled together and colored. That's just a guess though, because I haven't been able to find any actual issues or images of the issues of Messenger. Apparently some Proton stories were in those Messenger books. But then, and that was what was reprinted in the reprint of Proton Part 1. So it's a little convoluted because again, these are convention books. These are the kind of things you sell to. These are the kinds of things you sell to your convention goers to get your name written on, to get a signature. So going forward, Jerry Ordway is almost always at Terrificon, so I'll be keeping an eye out for future issues of Proton from now on.
Cool.
I find it, just because I'm a Jerry Ordway fan, I find it interesting enough to keep buying as they exist. I am going to, if I do get to talk to him at the next convention, I'm going to ask him more about Messenger and what the hell that's all about, and if there's any way to get more of that, because I like the idea of getting more Jerry Ordway solo books, because he's not a half bad writer as well as artist, so it's worth checking out what he's doing.
Absolutely. Plus, he's like an iconic Superman artist. He's like an industry legend.
Oh yeah. I mean, this is the guy. This is the guy who inked. This is the guy who inked George Perez on Crisis on Infinite Earths. So he is the guy. He's the man.
Yeah, BFD, big fucking deal. Like he's a fucking big fucking deal. So yeah, it's cool, man. And like, even though we kind of like balked at the price a little bit, I mean, whatever. If it's of interest to you, that's actually a bargain, and so it doesn't matter. And so it's cool. I think it's interesting.
I love his art, though. I did seriously think about grabbing some. I wish it was like a full dedicated issue. It would be fun, but I kind of get it. But
yeah, I mean, it's a thing he's doing for himself, and he sells it to his fans. And I guess ultimately,
it's a bummer that couldn't have been picked up by
somebody.
I'm assuming he's doing it, self-publishing it, because he couldn't get a publisher to, publish it.
I think it's more of a case
or whatever.
I think it's more of a case that in order to self-publish it, he'd have to dedicate a lot of time to it, and he's got other gigs to do, so he does it in his free time.
Plus, you also never know, like, if it's just literally a pet project, and that's as much as he cares to tackle it.
Right.
Yeah, I just love seeing creator-owned stuff from like these like big guys.
Me too. like absolutely. Like, I'll take any kind of like original IP from these guys. Like, yeah, absolutely, any day of the week. Cool, man. And like, refresh my memory, Jim. Like, wasn't that original pinup super old, and he just recently started doing this?
Yeah, it was super old.
Yeah, basically, I remember it was in the Savage Dragon teens in there. So he's had this, he's had this, cooking for a while. And in fact, I'm just discovering. So, in 2021, he published Messenger 23, and he actually, and that was the issue that had the original. It had a Proton story segment, and that reuses the poster for the art, for the cover.
Right.
I'm only discovering this now, and this issue in particular is out of print, so I can't get that one. But because there was the Messenger 23, and then there was Proton number 1, and then there's Proton number 2. Messenger 23 and Proton number 1 sold out, so he put out a Proton Part 1, which reprints the stuff from those 2 issues in one issue, which is what I bought. It's a little complicated. I'm sorry.
No, man, it's awesome. Thank you for taking the time to pick that up and share your impressions. Like, that's cool as hell. And you actually met him.
I think you were there for one of them.
Yeah,
but I don't think we talked. I don't think we talked to him that day though. I think he was late and he had a line.
Yeah.
No. You remember what happened? We were walking by, and I said, "Oh, that's Jerry Ordway. He's one of the coolest artists in the world." And he looked up at me as I was saying it, and acknowledged that he heard me.
This is actually not a joke. Yeah, this is actually
that
not
happened.
A joke.
Yeah. And then you blew him a kiss.
No, I didn't want to embarrass him.
Yeah.
But he did give him an ass wink, if you know what one of those is. It's where you just clench one cheek. Like a little.
But now this year, if he's there, I got something to ask him about, so I'm going to do that.
Yeah, or get him to sign. Things.
These came signed, so that part's already done.
Then get him to write a personal message on there, like "I love Jim."
I'm sure I'll figure something out.
Not "I love Jim."
No, it's okay. It's too far, too personal.
All right, we'll give him the old double ass wink.
The double ass wink.
Right, it's not twerking because you got to do it one cheek at a time, left then right or right then left, but not left and right at each time. That's just a twerk. The old double ass wink.
The old double ass wink.
Did you think at the end of this Ant issue, I want you to flip real quick the page before the letters column, right?
Right.
So go to panel 1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay. I think I know what you're about to ask, because I was going to ask if you noticed this. Let me verify let me verify that you're talking about the same panel that I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So second to last page on the one where she gets on the train, right?
No, yeah. Well, before the letters column. Right? Yeah,
right.
Last page.
So where it says the severed hand, so the fourth panel.
My timing
and her gigantic ass. You noticed that, did you?
Yeah. Do you think
her ass is foreshortened? It's closer to us.
I like it though. I'm just saying,
of course
maybe
you do.
we need more of that.
See, when I see a big perfect ass, I don't have to announce it to the world. I just accept it and memorize it, and I internalize it, and I go on with my life. But I know you've got to point them out.
I mean,
I liked how you liked the second panel on the last page enough that you redrew it as your own pinup.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that's a cool look. Even look at the little look at the original. Isn't that a cool
That's right.
panel?
You did draw her walking through the desert, didn't you?
It's that mesa and the way he colored it, where it's lighter and it's popping out. Don't you think that's just a cool panel?
Yeah.
You gonna send that to Erik? You get that in the letter pages?
It'd be good letter page art, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Not good enough for a pinup, but good enough to be a letter page.
I think you should do it.
I'll do it. Yeah, you guys have given me. Hey, dear listener, you heard right here live the inspiration to do it. No, I love that panel, dude. The mesa, like I love the colors. I just want to say I love the colors of this whole sequence. You know, the orange sky in one, the pink mesa, the green sky in the very next panel. You know, that perfect double, like single wink ass. You know, then she's getting on the train. The hobo's like, whoa. What in the world's a girl like you doing out here?
My lucky day.
Yeah, exactly. Won't you let old Willie play the harmonica for you?
Would you like some baked beans?
That's the harmonica. Some baked beans.
Here's a pot of a coat I cooked.
Hey there, Hannah. Have you ever wanted to learn the hobo language?
This is the last of my jerky. Please help yourself.
You ever wanted to learn the hobo alphabet?
So you take the ID out and then you hand them your wallet and then they can't kill you.
Yep. I hope at the beginning of issue 7, we see that guy waving to her from the train, and she's just chewing on jerky with the other hand's got a can of beans.
Mysterious meat jerky.
Yes, dude.
The guy's got a little stick with a handkerchief at the end.
Is it a cat? Is it a raccoon? Is it human?
I'll see you all this coming fall. The Big Rock Candy Mountain. He just disappears. The hobo just disappears down the tracks. Tell me a story again, Hannah. Warm my insides with a laugh. We got a lot of mileage out of that one page.
We did.
If you ever listen
hand
to
bone for you.
Do you know what a Juiceharp is? Boing, 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 boing. Why this hobo has a Juiceharp, I don't know. But I assume you do.
Sorry. I'm dying over
Sounds
here.
like you're killing Craig. Who's Pat? I don't know.
I just like your impression. Bling, bling, bling.
Juiceharp's hard to do an impression of, man. I don't know. I can't do
Who
it.
fuck invented that shit?
I don't know. Can you imagine the desperate situation that led to that? I
Come
need
on.
music.
Have you ever strung a rubber band between your fingers and just looked at it? I mean, it's the same general principle. You're bored as shit.
Saying
I
that's
need some free hands so I can hit this triangle and fucking, I don't know.
If you ever listen to a FINcast all the way to the end, you are truly rewarded. That's all I want to say. Right now, all the people who listen to us in their car, they got to pull off the side of the road to get a piss break. Because, dude, that was some funny stuff. I had 2 drops myself.
I'm going to go out and buy myself one of those little... Are they called Juiceharp or Juiceharp?
It's both, isn't it?
I only know it as jaw harp.
I thought a Juiceharp was a jaw harp.
Does the jaw harp need the wax paper?
Ooh,
What am I thinking of?
I think you're talking about a kazoo.
Oh, you're right. The kazoo needs the wax
Yeah,
paper.
kazoo has a piece of wax paper in it. Because you can blow it out. You can ruin it. That's kazoo logistics.
The parts of a the part of a Juiceharp is the frame, the reed, the legs, and the tang.
Tang. Oh, no.
Hannah, do you know how to
get that
sling tang? Sit back and let old Willie sling tang for you, Hannah.
Okay, I think we've ridden this into the ground. Good night, everybody.
I'll see you all this coming fall.
See ya.